I am Raziel.
What's up, guys? Raziel here, and I have a video for you today. A lot of people have reached out to me over my stream and over my Discord about my thoughts on the acquisition by Microsoft of Activision Blizzard, and there's a lot of people on hopium or copium regarding that this will save World of Warcraft and other Blizzard IPs, and I'm here to tell you right now that it will not, and let me explain. So, what happened to Blizzard in the first place when it was acquired by Activision? It's something that took quite a bit of time to become what it is today, the absolute shit show it is now. It wasn't instantaneous. Activision acquired Blizzard around the time of Wrath of the Lich King during World of Warcraft. And it really, before we started to see a lot of terrible changes to the game, it took quite a few years after the fact for that to become. It wasn't until, end of Cataclysm and into Mists of Pandaria, and even then, not as much, that you started to see a huge shift in the company policies and in how games were designed, developed, released, whatnot. It's something that takes a long time. So am I saying, well, Raz, does that mean that over time things could be better? And I would say fucking absolutely not. And I'll tell you again why. So what caused the changes to the company after Activision acquired it? Well, the biggest thing you have to keep in mind is company culture shifted. So the original Blizzard, the one that made StarCraft 1, World of Warcraft, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Warcraft 2, Warcraft 3, etc., those things, Diablo 2, for example, they were designed by a company that didn't have assloads and assloads of money. They weren't a billion-dollar corporation back then. They were a company of gamers making games for gamers, right? They had a very specific culture. You can look back and read into stories of how it was to work for Blizzard during that time period, and you will see 100% it was an entirely different culture. So when Activision acquired it, obviously you started to see the company go in a direction of appeasing shareholders as opposed to making great games that they themselves wanted to play and that sort of thing. So you saw a shift. Now, what caused the quality of World of Warcraft and other Blizzard IPs to go down? Well, Activision had a lot to do with it, but not directly. It wasn't Activision walking up to Blizzard employees and telling them how to program their games as much as people like to believe. That's not true. It's the change in culture and the priorities. So Activision made it a priority, fuck deadlines. So companies would, games would get released when they weren't finished because of shareholder appeasement, which led to lower quality products. But the biggest thing that caused the downfall in quality of games like Diablo and World of Warcraft was the skilled and talented and developers that had a very open mind and wanted to create a game that was fun to play started leaving the company because of the culture change, because of the change in mindset and the culture within Blizzard. The people that were really talented and had made the games that we all know and love, such as the original WoW, Warcraft 2, 3, StarCraft, Diablo 1 and 2, left the company. So what's the people that were left over, the less talented, the people with less of a vision and more of a mind of money, started making all the decisions for these games, which, let's be honest here, take a step back. Microsoft takes over. Microsoft is corrupt as fuck. Microsoft is a terrible, evil corporation, just as much as Activision is. I mean, just look at the products and the things they believe. They shut down free speech. They do all kinds of stuff. They're just as scummy as Activision, and they're just as concerned with the bottom line, which is how much money they're making, how much profit they're getting from their products. So you're just exchanging one devil for another here. And do you honestly see any of that changing? Now, the culture within, people, employees raping each other or whatever after this big lawsuit, I mean, it may improve, but unless Microsoft creates an environment that's inviting to very creative and visualistic gamers, a gamer's developer, essentially, and gets them hired on, you're not going to see that. Because what you're still going to see with Microsoft in charge is diversity hire quotas. You're going to see woke politics jammed into everything, just like you do with Activision. It's the same fucking shit, right? And you have to ask yourself, okay, well, why did Microsoft buy Activision Blizzard in the first place? Well, because quite frankly, it didn't make sense not to. With Activision Blizzard stock in the dumps because of what's been going on with the lawsuit and with what happened in the company culture and with the mass exodus of talented people on the teams, it made so much sense to drop 70 billion or whatever the final number was to acquire Activision Blizzard. But they weren't after it because World of Warcraft or Diablo or StarCraft or Heroes of the Storm or any of Blizzard's IPs are huge money makers. Quite frankly, they're not. Even WoW, with how much it makes now, doesn't make a whole lot of money. It makes hundreds of millions a year, sure, but that's pennies. That's pennies to a company like Microsoft. So what they're doing is, what they're really interested in is the real money makers that Activision Blizzard has, which is Candy Crush. Other mobile platforms that are making money hand over fist in the Chinese video game market. Also Call of Duty. These are the big money makers that they're really interested in acquiring. Games like World of Warcraft and Diablo, and the profit they bring in is pretty meaningless to a company like Microsoft. So the whole idea that Microsoft can come in and fix World of Warcraft isn't going to happen, because World of Warcraft is shit because the people that are in charge of designing the game and in charge of its direction are shit. Ian Hazzikostas, he's a great raid designer, but he's an absolutely shit game developer. The vast majority of people that make decisions for the direction of Blizzard IPs, such as Diablo, World of Warcraft, etc., are talentless hacks, or they're never played a video game in their life, and it's all about shareholders and money. That, I don't see Microsoft acquiring this as an avenue for this to change. In fact, only to get worse or stay the same. I do believe that Bobby Kotick, he's a complete piece of fucking shit. I do believe that Bobby Kotick is going to step down once the purchase is complete. He'll have a golden parachute. He doesn't have to be involved anymore. He'll go away. But Bobby Kotick himself isn't responsible for the way World of Warcraft is. So will Microsoft shake some stuff up and fire some people and hire some people? Sure. But unless they're incentivizing and creating an environment where creative gamers are coming in to work on the games, it's not going to change. If they're just replacing one shareholder obsessed asshole with another, it's not going to change anything. And I don't see Microsoft even noticing that Ian Hazzikostas is game developer, let alone them doing anything about it. Every decision Ian Hazzikostas has made for World of Warcraft since he was put in place has been a bad one, and I think anyone who plays WoW can agree with that. And it's shit like this, right? These are the reasons why I don't see Microsoft acquiring Activision Blizzard as changing anything. It's not going to change anything. And if it does, even if we luck the fuck out and somehow Microsoft, turns on a dime and creates a new environment, and it does improve the quality of Blizzard's IPs, it's going to be years before you actually see it physically manifested, and by then, WoW's going to be fucking dead. It's already practically dead at this point, and that's why I don't get the massive amounts of hopium and copium that everyone's on regarding this acquisition, because it's trading one devil for another. Microsoft is shit. We all know they're shit. Bungie did everything they could to get out from under Microsoft and buy out their deal when they were doing Halo back in the day, and they got out. And unfortunately, a lot of toxicity and bullshit that was infused into Bungie's culture via Microsoft still remains. But that's an entirely different topic. I won't go into that. But World of Warcraft is going to remain largely unchanged until they can create an environment where people that have a good vision for the game and people that know what players want and know what's fun get put in charge. and that's not going to happen. Microsoft's not the avenue or the vehicle to make something like this take place. It just simply isn't. If you're really looking for games that are going to be like the games of old, where they're really fun, they're not stocked full of microtransactions, and that they're really rewarding and fun to play, and not, jam-packed with wokeism bullshit and people's political opinions, is you have to look at independent studios. Like Dreamhaven Games, that the old Blizzard devs have recently started, is a good example, because they want to foster creativity and make games that they themselves would want to play, while that's just not Activision Blizzard anymore. It's not Microsoft. It hasn't been either of those for a long time. Especially if you look at, like, I remember my first MMORPG that I was really into, which was Shuron's Call. It was the publishing and most of the rights were owned by Microsoft when it came out, and this was back in the 90s, and back before Microsoft was as big as it is now. And even then, Turbine Entertainment, over a couple years, paid off what they owed Microsoft to get out from under them. All right, this isn't going to change anything. I'm sorry if you think it is. You're under serious amounts of copium, and you need to just let it go, because this isn't going to fix World of Warcraft, and even if it could, it would be years before you saw any of it. So I'm wondering what you guys think. That's my opinion on the matter. That's how I see this situation. That's what I think is going to take place. You're going to see very little change until Ian Hazzikostas and other people on the Blizz team are removed and replaced by actual gamers and people who want to create and have a good vision for the game. And there's no reason anyone like that would want to work for a huge company like Microsoft or Activision Blizzard. There's just no incentive. They pay their employees garbage. They treat their employees like shit. And everything is about bottom dollar, bottom line, shareholders, what people that have never touched a video game in their life, what they want, the turnaround they want for their stock is essentially what these companies are all about. So if you're looking for games that are going to be, what you're looking for, it's very, very unlikely to come from a big AAA studio, regardless of which studio it is. It's going to come from an independent, smaller company that actually has a vision for their products and actually wants to enjoy and play their own products. And that's just the bottom line, guys. So anyways, these are my thoughts on the acquisition of Activision Blizzard by Microsoft. What are your thoughts down below? Do you agree with me, disagree with me? If you like my content, please share it and like it. It helps it a lot. If you didn't like it, that's fine. Give it a thumbs down and go fuck yourself. And as always, my friends, keep it real.